And we're now live.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, everyone. This is the regular council meeting of the Township of South Algonquin for November 3rd, 2021, beginning at 9 o'clock. I'm opening the meeting and calling it to order, and I would do roll call of the members of council. Councillor Collins.
Here.
Councillor Florent.
Here.
Councillor Harper.
Here.
Councillor Bongo.
Here.
Councillor Shala sent his regrets, and Councillor Rodnick.
Here.
Thank you, everyone. So this morning I will be opening the meeting with our land acknowledgement. I thank Robert Krafchick, the Algonquin negotiation representative of the Algonquins of Whitney and area, and others for their assistance with this. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaska people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. Chi Miigwech, all my relations. We are at item 2 in the agenda. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, I would move item number 3, adoption of the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, there is an amendment to the agenda. There have been resolutions added, but they are contained in the package now. So the resolution is moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Rodnick. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular council meeting of November 3rd, 2021. Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. With the business before us this morning, does any member of council wish to disclose a pecuniary interest? Hearing none. Thank you. Number 5, agenda item number 5, petitions, delegations, and presentations. We have Janice Atwood and Jeffrey Abrams from Integrity Principles Integrity with us this morning to present the Integrity Commissioner's annual report for the Township of South Algonquin. So I would ask you to go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor Dumas, and good morning, everyone. I am Jeff Abrams. You'll see on the screen somewhere, my partner, Janice Atwood-Petkovsky. I'll be doing most of the talking today, but of course, if you have any questions, either Janice or I would be very happy to respond. This is our second annual report. It's dated until the summer, until the end of June this past summer. We can say there hasn't been a lot of activity since that day. The purpose of delivering an annual report is both to reacquaint ourselves with you and to maintain we have a relationship where you feel comfortable in reaching out to us for advice, but also to give the public a peek into the ethical well-being of the municipality from the perspective of the Integrity Commissioner, and for the public's benefit, just to remind them and perhaps you of the role of the Integrity Commissioner. We take the view that it's an important role because it helps to maintain the cement that keeps together local democracy. I think we'll all recognize that the general public views elected officials at all levels of government, some with somewhat disdain, unfortunately. And so there's a big task to demonstrate to the public that local government is operating with integrity, and that's part of our role. And if you look at the second page of the report, you'll see a graphic, and it nicely sets out the various things an Integrity Commissioner does for the municipalities. It begins with a consulting role where we help you develop policies, including codes of conduct, that apply to you, that guide members of your local boards in proper and ethical behavior. We conduct education, whether it's an orientation period or on specific topics that might come up, or even in delivering this annual report is something of an educational feature. We provide, most importantly, an advisory function, in that we provide discreet, confidential advice when you ask for it, and it's binding upon us. So in other words, it bulletproofs you if somebody were to come forward and complain about your activity. If you've sought advice and you're following the advice and the circumstances are the same, you're bulletproofed. You can't be the subject of a complaint with findings against you. We do deal with, we're the independent party that deals with complaints as they come forward. We do our best to resolve them. We think that's the most effective way to deal with concerns, but if necessary, we have the power to do complete investigations and make findings and make recommendations to council on sanctions if necessary. That applies not only to Code of Conduct concerns, but also to Municipal Conflict of Interest Act concerns. We are there in place for that statute too under recent amendments, maybe not so recent at this point in time. And then for other activities that you might wish us to undertake, there's a sort of catch-all. And taken together, we believe that given that mantra, given the concern that the general public might have, that elected officials of all stripes and levels aren't operating with integrity, the Integrity Commissioner helps to build trust, respect, and engagement with your communities. And that's why we think it a useful feature of municipal government. We operate independently, and we also operate under a cloak of confidentiality. So in other words, when you reach out for advice, that advice, the fact that even you've reached out, it was you who reached out, is confidential, and it's not disclosed to council or anyone else. So with respect to this reporting period, the activity with the council, I must say, has not been high. We do like to see at least some activity, so we maintain the relationships. We know there must be questions that come up. We'd like to see those come our way, because we can, in very short order, resolve an issue or prevent something from becoming a concern. We did not have the opportunity to respond to any requests for advice during this reporting period. We did have a little bit of engagement after the reporting period, but it is out of keeping with our typical engagements to have no requests for advice. Similarly, we're happy that there were no complaint investigations. We did have one complaint in the reporting period that was able to be resolved without a need for a recommendation report, on the basis that we had no jurisdiction to review the matter. So that's the activity level in South Algonquin for the reporting period, but it's useful when we're here to talk about other learnings that have come about as a result of experiences either by ourselves or other integrity commissioners across the province. And so I'm just going to highlight what the report contains. First one being about disparagement. Disparagement, unfortunately, is a common feature for integrity commissioners to deal with. I think it's, applying the golden rule will more or less get you through the day without a concern for a disparagement, but it can manifest itself in small ways. And it's important for members of councils, for elected officials, to realize it's not just what they believe is a proper comment, it's how the recipient will receive the comment. And so we have had no concerns with respect to disparagement at this council, and I'm happy to say that. Also across the province, it's perhaps the most frequent request made to us for advice. It involves avoiding conflicts of interest. The township has had for some time now a code of conduct that talks about disqualifying interests. It's a code that recognizes that it's not only the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act that describes your obligations to avoid conflicts of interest, because that act is very narrow and only deals with pecuniary interest, but you have a broader common law obligation to avoid conflicts of interest. And that in fact came up in the Collingwood inquiry that was reported on in November of of last year, about a year ago now. And in fact, the inquiry adopted the very same provision that's embedded in your code of conduct as one to be recommended to the province and to the town of Collingwood for inclusion in codes of conduct. So you're ahead of the game, and that's a good thing. I did note at the beginning of this meeting, you're asked to declare pecuniary interests. That's fine, but you do have this broader obligation to avoid what's known as common law conflicts of interest. And I'd be happy, I or Janice be happy to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes if you'd like us to. So moving on, still talking about ethical themes across the province. There's one we described as staying in your lane. It's about the role of members of council vis-a-vis the role of staff, and you now have a council staff relations policy that helps guide you in carrying out your role as the directing mind of the organization, recognizing that staff are there as independent advisors, professionals, and also the implementers of council's decisions. Social media and blocking, I don't know to the extent to which you all engage in social media. It's a very useful tool to communicate with your constituents. It's a useful tool to test the pulse of the community. During the pandemic, we did notice that some social media sites maintained by elected officials replaced public meetings, replaced in effect the town square. And so where an elected official has an open social media site, a site where anybody may join without signing on or without registration, it was inappropriate that some members of the public be blocked from conversations merely because they disagreed with the host of the site. And we gave advice that just don't be arbitrary when that occurs. You should be providing explanations and giving notice to the person blocked. And that tends to resolve whatever friction results from blocking. Lastly, there was a provincial consultation, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, on codes of conduct, on integrity commissioners. The consultation period has ended. We've not heard of any advancement in developments since the close of consultations. Unlikely that any changes will occur before the next election. But Janice and I participated in MECO's discussions, led MECO's discussions, MECO being the Municipal Integrity Commissioners of Ontario, the the Voluntary Association of Integrity Commissioners, and made a submission on behalf of MECO to the province. And we're waiting to hear back on that. That's a very quick summary of both what's occurred in South Algonquin and in the rest of the province. And we thank you for your attention today and for your engagement over the course of the term so far. And Janice and I are here to answer any questions you might have.
Hi there, this is Councillor Bongo. I'm wondering if I can ask a question to Jeffrey and Janice.
Go ahead, Councillor Bongo.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much for your presentation. I realize that there's a high emphasis on confidentiality, which I think is a good thing, a really good thing. However, my question is, if a councillor consults or engages with the Integrity Commissioner, and even if it's like a happy situation, not necessarily something of a high intensity level of discussion or conflict, is a councillor able to publicize that experience, perhaps in the form of a blog or a live stream, with the intention of perhaps learning something about that experience and perhaps educating the public a little bit about some of the integrity principles?
Certainly. So the obligation of confidentiality is a statutory one, and it applies to us in a couple of different ways, Councillor. So in the context of advice, if you were to reach out to us for advice, we would be obliged to maintain the confidentiality of that. We might ask you, oh, can I talk to this certain staff member to flesh out your concern? We might ask you to do that, but it's confidentiality that you may waive. So when we deliver the report, what we do is we provide you typically, unless it's, last minute sort of thing, we provide something called an advice memorandum. It sets out the request. It sets out the advice. It explains the advice. You understand it, and so you don't need to reach out to us again because you'll have it available to you. If you choose to release that, you may. Or if you choose to speak to it, you may. Confidentiality also manifests if we were to do an investigation. And so we would want there to be more closely held information in the course of an investigation, because the release of information prematurely can undermine the integrity of the investigation. So you can see they're going two different routes there. For the advice we give you, sure. Now, if you were to blog it and you made an error, the Act allows us to sort of jump in and say, well, the counselor said this, but that's not quite the circumstance. And if we became aware, we could actually supplement the information. Hope that answers the question.
Oh, it totally does. And I guess my follow-up question is, in the event that it's a situation where it's an actual investigation and the investigation is closed, your final report is submitted, at that stage, once it's completed, is a counselor then allowed to waive the confidentiality agreement and publicize the experience in that situation?
Well, there's no confidentiality agreement. At least we haven't imposed one to this point in time. I don't want to give you carte blanche answer. Yes, it's wide open, because there may have been personal information disclosed that you would be entitled to if you were the respondent. In order to fairly respond to the document, I don't think we'd want to see publications of our interviews or emails back and forth. And it would become obvious why in the context. But generally speaking, you have a voice. You're entitled, if a report comes to council, you're entitled to speak to it. You're entitled to defend yourself, so to speak. There would always be a concern about matters of reprisal. There would be a concern about undermining the authority of the office. There'd be a concern about disclosure of personal information. But generally speaking, you would be able to speak fully about your perspective on the matter.
Super. Thank you so much for those answers.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from member of council? I have one. Would you be able to elaborate a bit we are on YouTube for the general public, the understanding that it is a requirement of the individual member of council to disclose. It's not the job of other members around the table to bring, to bring forward what they may think would be perhaps a transgression of another member of council.
That's quite correct. It's the obligation of a member of council to be aware of their general circumstances and what's on the agenda, and to disclose if they have an interest. No one else can put themselves in the shoes of the member. No one else, for example, might know that the member's already reached out to us and we've advised in these particular circumstances, given the very complex array of provisions and exceptions and exemptions that are set out in the statute and understood by the common law. Another member of council may not be aware that in this particular circumstance, the Integrity Commissioner has given the advice that the member may participate. So it doesn't lie in the mouth of another member of council to make the statement that a member should make a declaration. Now, in the course of a debate, obviously all of these things are to be determined in the context of the situation. Probing questions might be offered, but not so far as to suggest that a member has a conflict and should not be participating.
Thank you very much. Again, any other members of council? Brian, yourself or staff, any questions that you would like to put forward?
Not at this time.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Very much appreciate your attending our meeting to deliver our annual report. And we look forward to you coming back again next year with a similar report. And certainly council has been encouraged to reach out to you for advice should any occurrences or questions come into their minds. So thank you very much for attending this morning.
Wish you a good meeting. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we are at agenda item number 6, minutes of the previous meeting, to adopt the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 6, 2021. I have this resolution moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Florent. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 6, 2021 as circulated. Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
4, sorry.
That's all right.
4,
Councillor Florent,
4.
Councillor Harper,
4.
Councillor Bongo,
4.
Councillor Rodnick.
4.
Thank you. It's carried. Agenda item number 7, we are at committee, staff, and council reports. We do have committee reports this morning. Number 1 being the Murchison Lyle Parks and Recreation meeting of August 10, 2021. Councillor Florent, any comments on those?
No, I don't think so. The meetings have been very low key, more just a maintenance, kind of keep your hand in it and your brain active, and they've been working on the budget. I think that was done at the August meeting. Possibly it would have been the September meeting. I'm not sure now, but no, nothing. I think you're aware of correspondence with Ed Lentz about the I don't know what billboard or what, for lack of a better name, at the Murray Park, and that's been an ongoing thing. Not every meeting it comes up, but it often comes up at meetings.
All right, thank you for that. And we certainly have staff are aware of the situation and are working with that as well. So thank you very much. Number 2.
Mayor Dumas, can I
Oh,
add a little there? Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've had Ed Lentz reach out to me regarding something else that I think may be brought up in the recreation forum, but he is asking if it would be possible to extend the beach down at that park. It's treaty land, he understands, but he said because people want a little bit of space between each other, etc., and the beach is so beautiful and I think it's the far side of where we already have that park. He was wondering whether or not the township could clear a little bit of that beach and extend that beach area, and asked me if I could bring this forward as a question. So I know Dave isn't here, but I don't believe it would cost an awful lot of money to do that. But obviously I'm not aware of costings, etc. for this.
I think I would give you the answer that it's emphatically no. If this is land that's in the land claim with the Algonquins of Ontario, we have no right whatsoever to do anything with that land. I would ask Brian to elaborate, but certainly we know that other areas in South Algonquin that are in the Algonquin land claim, we have no jurisdiction over them whatsoever. Brian, do you wish to elaborate or to correct my comment?
No, Mayor Dumas, you're correct. Certainly, until this process is completely finalized, it's difficult to even sit down to negotiate what may or may not be done. I think it's a bit premature to sit down with the Algonquins and try and make amendments to any of the properties they may have interest in until such time as they've officially transferred from the federal hand to the local Algonquin hands, for us to be able to sit down with their people at that time and discuss options and opportunities for both parties.
Thank you.
And I just add,
Mm-hmm.
Who's that? Councillor Florent? Yes, go ahead, Councillor
yes,
Florent.
I just want to add that, to my knowledge, that item, although Mr. Lentz did reach out to me as well in an email, I don't think that item ever came up at a Parks and Recreation meeting.
Mm-hmm. And I think it would be good to encourage Mr. Lentz to work through the Murchison Lyle Parks and Recreation Committee, because anything that, involves changes to the landscape in a parks would have to come up through the council process of budgeting, et cetera. So there is a way to do this and it should be followed. So, we can, and I believe that has been relayed back to Mr. Lentz as well. So we could continue to reinforce that so that, anything that is done in the park area is done to the provincial or to the municipal township standard of building, et cetera. So I think that encouragement would be beneficial and hopefully have a positive outcome down the road. Any other questions?
Thank you. I'll report back to him. So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions in regards to the recreation part of the meeting? We have the fire report. It was attached to our package. I don't know if there are any questions or comments on the fire report. Okay. Is Chief Kruger present?
I am. If anybody has any questions, I'm here. Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Anything you wish to bring out in the report?
No, it was a pretty quiet month. I don't think there's anything on there that needs to be really addressed unless there's specific questions.
Just, it's very nice to see that you've been able to get back into the schools to do the training with the children. That's always very positive. So thank you for that. All right. And the third item is the administration report. The first part of the report is council composition and electoral boundaries. So Brian, I would just ask you to lead the discussion.
Thank you, Mayor Dumas. Certainly, one of the items that was in the KPMG report, service delivery review that was submitted in March, specifically spoke to the composition of council. And in so reviewing that report and bringing forward the items within that report, knowing that the deadline to make any changes to composition of ward boundaries or to the composition of council have to be completed by bylaw of council by the end of December to allow for the appropriate appeal processes to be undertaken should they be required. As such, it was prudent to get this before council now so that council can give further direction if any further direction is required related to this report.
Thank you. It's interesting in the report, and it's visible right now, that they did a comparison to the communities that they represented. And in our township, most in the other comparators, they had about 350 number of residents per council, and we are sitting at 145. Discussion from council in regards to this?
I'll go ahead if I can.
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
This has came up, this same item came up a couple of years ago. It was brought forth by one of the members of council, and it was soundly turned down by the majority of council. And when they're making comparisons, I wonder if they compare other townships with the geographical size of South Algonquin, and that's a big difference. It's not only the people we represent, but it's all the infrastructure and the land within the township that we represent. And I think the ward system does that very well. At large election, I can see a lot of the townships are doing that. I don't think it suits us as well as some of the other townships. I think we could very easily end up with a whole council from one little corner of the township, and there would be absolutely no representation in the rest of the township, or at least not hands-on representation from the rest of the township. So in conclusion, it's just that I like the way it is. It works well. The cost is a little bit more cost, maybe. If you're going to be, if 5 members are going to cover the area that 7 are now, obviously you're going to have to get out and about a little bit more. And so the cost savings wouldn't be that much, I don't think.
Thank you, Councillor Florent. Any other member of council wish to make a comment?
Yes, I support what Joe mentioned.
Go ahead, Councillor Rodnick.
Yeah, I agree with what Joe said. I mean, our area is kind of unique. I mean, you know, in some cases, I think the at-large elections can work, but I think in our municipality, it's a little bit different. And also the fact is, it was proven in the choosing of myself for the council position. People from outside our ward actually decided to put their name forward. So there's nothing stopping them from running in another ward too. So, you know, you can get certain diversities that way. But and that was one of the big things too, that I know Dickens ward was when the amalgamation was first happening, one of the big considerations was they were looking at going towards Madawaska Valley, and they decided to come with South Algonquin because they were going to have representation on council along with all the other wards, whereas Madawaska Valley uses the at-large process.
And I think it's rather telling in this report that they, as Councillor Florent indicated, the huge geographical area of South Algonquin, and the only other one that within their reporting group that has the 7 representatives is the municipality of Temagami, which is, I think, probably equally as large or maybe a little bit larger than South Algonquin. So I think geography in our case plays a part in representation. Brian, what would be the next steps in regard to this then? Do we have to put a resolution forward at the December meeting sort of stating that we would maintain the status quo?
No, Mayor Dumas, actually, if we wish to maintain the status quo, there is no further action required on behalf of council. This was simply brought forward in case there was a desire for consideration of other alternatives. With those alternatives that were available for council consideration, the report itself can just be received as it's been presented.
So I would just once again say to the members of council that have not indicated an opinion on this, are you happy to go ahead as we are with the recommendation to maintain the status quo?
Chair, I was wondering if I could just have the floor for a moment.
Go ahead, Councillor Bongo.
Thank you so much. Just to go back, the vote was 4-3, actually. So it was a fairly split vote. I was also the member of council that brought this forward 2 years ago. I'm just going to take about 5 minutes just to broadcast my perspective on this.
Bongo, this isn't passed, it's a council meeting. So would you like to make a succinct comment?
Sure, and I'll start now. Thank you. So I'm 100% in favor of an election at large. I think we should move to a 4-councillor, 1-mayor system as soon as possible. And I would like to bring this forward to vote at the December meeting. Municipal colleagues at Roma and AMO are very surprised when I speak to them that we have 7 councillors. And further to that, they're also surprised that we do have a ward system. As the information shows in the report, we are only one of 2 councils of this rural nature that still uses the system that we currently use. I just want to talk quickly about why we should shrink council. Number one, it's efficiency. It's all, I think a 5-member council would be a lot more efficient. We need more staff. We don't need more people as decision makers. 5 minds are perfectly capable of making decisions. And 5 voices also simplifies the debating process. I'd like to maximize the value of each councillor position. Number 2, I think it's smarter financially as well. If we remove 2 council positions, that money could be used to hire extra staff, or we can simply save that money instead. In a ward system, we need 6 individual elections. Okay, and not to mention the person power to also facilitate 6 elections. If we have an at-large system, we're only looking at 2 elections. So that in and of itself is a huge cost and efficiency saving. Number 3, fairness. Right now, Erie has 2 seats. This represents a power imbalance, since theoretically, Erie always gets double the representation no matter what. And that 2nd seat was only created to create an odd number. So to me, it's not really justified that well. I'm quickly going to speak about why I really love the at-large format and why I think it's actually the best situation for our township. Number 1, an at-large format would empower our residents by ensuring that we have a competitive election every single election cycle. Residents in other wards lament to me all the time that they didn't get an opportunity to vote because of the acclamations. An at-large system would strengthen the quality of our democracy by ensuring that there's an exciting election every single time, every 4 years. An at-large system also increases access to our democracy. We have a low candidate turnout rate, and historically this has been a trend. Last election, the 2 area seats were the only those were the only 2 seats that attracted competition. I'm convinced that the ward system actually deters people from applying. Case in point, when we had a recent council vacancy, we received six or seven very strong applications from a wide variety of applicants. An at-large system makes it easier for residents to apply to run for council. And I think we have a responsibility to foster a more competitive election experience. And I guarantee that an at-large system will also increase the amount of candidates applying. Thirdly, removing the ward system sets up this me versus you atmosphere at our table. I think our people are better served if we have a smaller council and each of its members are responsible towards the whole of township. Citizens should be able to approach any councillor for help, not just their ward rep. At large would arguably create a more unified and productive council, since we wouldn't be pitted against each other, all fighting and proving ourselves to our respective wards. Now, I did hear the arguments for the status quo. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, I respectfully argue that the system is broken. There's a historic trend of low election candidate turnouts. This to me is an indication that the aforementioned barriers deter people from applying. Our ward system is broken. The low level of candidacy should alarm us. These councillor positions are so important and it's exciting work. We need to build that up. We should strive to attract as big of a turnout as possible, and it starts with an at-large system. The other argument against low candidacy rate means people are content with the work that we're doing. But please don't misinterpret this as a criticism. This is the best township in the world, thanks to the municipal leaders of the past. There's a proud legacy of good work here, and I recognize that. But I think what people want to see is a more competitive election cycle. And that, to me, the answer is the at-large system. And then, of course, we spoke just a few minutes ago that having no wards will disempower the sparsely populated rural areas. I also disagree with this argument. I think it's a false perception. Look, we have wards right now, but we still don't have water access, fire prevention. I don't think the ward system is actually empowering our rural areas as much as we think. Let's make every councillor position accountable to every resident across the township. After all, I think it's perfectly reasonable for one councillor to serve 350 residents. And currently our ratio is, I think the report says about 145 per councillor with our 7-member makeup. In closing, let's ride the momentum of our modernization efforts. The ward system is of the past, is a relic of the 1988 amalgamation era. Let's create a more unified and efficient South Algonquin with an at-large 5-person council. And above all else, this was a recommendation from the KPMG report. So if we don't go ahead with this, then we're ignoring some of the experts' advice about steps taken to modernize our township. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Bongo, for that information. Any other member of council wish to speak? Okay, all right, thank you. So Brian, the
I
second
can make
report.
a couple of corrections.
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
Mayor,
Yes,
Councillor
who's that?
Florent.
Yes, go
I'd
ahead,
like to make
Councillor.
a couple of, it's Councillor Florent.
Yes,
I'd like to make a couple of corrections in Councillor Bongo's statements. First of all, amalgamation was 1998, not 1988, so a little bit of study on history of the township would help him out. And the other statement is we didn't create the 7th councillor just to create an odd number. The reason that Whitney had Erie Township had 2 councillors was because they had twice the population of any of the other individual townships. Another little history lesson for Councillor Bongo.
thank you, Councillor Florent. Any other member of council? All right, so we'll go to the next report of yours, Brian. The which one is this one? Sorry. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes, the RFP proposals that are going out. Would you just like to quickly comment on those?
Certainly, Mayor Dumas. Staff have been undertaking a review of our operations, trying to find cost efficiencies to assist us in moving forward, and if not cost efficiencies, at least a maintenance of the costs that we currently are experiencing. In so doing, we've reviewed propane suppliers, which has resulted in us making a change to suppliers that should transition during the period of this month. It's a significant savings. Actually, based on our last billing cycle, it was about 12 cents per liter of propane difference. That said, prices are expected to climb dramatically over the course of this winter. And even at the current 12 cents, we're expecting between a $3,000 and $5,000 savings. We've taken a look at our hydro costs. We've taken a look at the program that AMO provides, the local authority services, where they purchase bulk procure hydroelectric services for a number of municipalities in the province. I think they're up to about 200 now. But in reviewing that, there currently isn't an economic benefit for us based on some issues they're having with procuring this time due to some issues in available suppliers wishing to resell to them. We've also taken a look at our costs related to banking. We've gone out with an RFP that'll be closed on the 12th of November. We'll bring forward a proposal to council for approval. At that time, there's all of the major banks involved in that within a reasonable distance, either in Bancroft or in Barry's Bay. We've also taken a look at our insurance, and we understand insurance is a hard market right now for municipalities. So in order to try and mitigate what could be perceived as a very significant adjustment in the costs this year, we've gone out to tender, hoping that that'll sharpen some pencils. Also, in previous years, the municipality has closed its office over the Christmas period. We've just making an advisory that it would be our intention to continue that practice. Staff, in fact, will take vacation days that they still have during that period. So it'll give them a bit of family time over the Christmas period. Brian Acme's arranged for our annual emergency exercise. The province has determined that, in fact, this year it's mandatory that we undertake one. He's sent out a request to those individuals that he requires to be in attendance for it. We'll be doing that on the 15th. And also our January 5th meeting, I would like council permission to adjust that to and notify of the change to the 12th of January. Since staff don't come back until the 4th, it would make for a bit of complication and may minimize the value of the agenda on the 5th of January. So we'd like to move that out to the 12th if that works for council. And if not, we certainly could choose another date that would be more appropriate for council's liking. We have an upcoming committee of adjustment meeting on the 23rd and an asset management meeting the same day as well. We are working very hard on budgets. A couple of challenges, of course, that we have there. Our district and Nipissing's social service board's budget is not expected at this point to be available until December. The county of Renfrew hasn't provided any information on the health budget at this time, and Castle Home's redevelopment project and their annual budget are still up in the air, although we have been working very hard with our MPP, Mr. Yakubuski, in an attempt to move ourselves from the Castle Home project on a permanent basis. And as soon as the information is available to us, staff are still hoping that during December, the very, very latest early January, we're able to bring forward a budget for deliberation by council.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Brian? All right, thank you very much. So we will move on then to the agenda. Are there any councillor reports? Okay.
I'd just like to report, Jane, if I may, that the Remembrance Day ceremony next week, I think it's next Thursday, is going ahead this year at a little bit of a reduced show before, we're not anybody from the military, so we're not inviting people from outside the area to come in. But it's an outside ceremony, so with closer than 6 feet, and we're planning on going ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Councillor Florent. Any other councillor reports? Okay, hearing none. Agenda item number 8, business arising from the minutes. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay. Or any agenda item number 9, any unfinished business? Okay. Agenda item number 10, correspondence, action items. We do have one item there, the application of a volunteer for the Whitney Recreation Committee. And so there will be a resolution for that. And new business? None. All right, so agenda item 13, motions of council. I have a resolution moved by Councillor Harper and seconded by Councillor Bongo. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts the application received from Janice Chenoweth to become a volunteer of the Whitney Recreation Committee. Any discussion? Calling the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It carried. The next resolution. I have this resolution moved by Councillor Rodnick and seconded by Councillor Collins. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin agrees to move the January 5th, 2022 council meeting to January the 12th, 2022. Any discussion? Hearing none, calling the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. I have this resolution moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Collins. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports Resolution 2021-677 received from the municipality of Grey Highlands, which is in support of the resolution received from Tay Valley Township, which requests the ministry responsible for the alcohol and gaming of Ontario implement an additional level of licensing, which would permit small organizations to hold fundraisers as a method of sustaining our community and organizations. Councillor Florent, you brought this one forward. Did you wish to elaborate at all?
I just know that a lot of the small organizations, their hands have been tied since the government decided that they were the only ones entitled to use lotteries as a means of fundraising. And I don't think it's fair. And this, I'm not sure that there's any organizations that can't have lottery currently that having one would benefit, but the seniors in Whitney would be one for sure, but I'm not sure if they are allowed because there could be, if they're incorporated, the rules are a little bit different, but I'm speaking mainly of unincorporated organizations.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. Any other comments? I would call the vote then. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. I have the next resolution moved by Councillor Collins and seconded by Councillor Rodnick. Be it resolved that the Council for the Township of South Algonquin supports the Township of Enniskillen resolution passed on October 4th, 2021, that Health Canada research more fully when and before an applicant is issued a license for either medicinal or recreational cannabis. A notification and/or communication be given to the appropriate municipality and that regular inspections of these facilities should be mandatory to verify compliance by license holders. And upon complaints received by Health Canada, online reporting should trigger an unannounced inspection, and a comprehensive study of the Cannabis Act be undertaken, as many Ontario municipalities have encountered problems. Any discussion?
I'd like to address it.
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
I really don't understand this. I haven't heard of any problems for licensed establishments. And I know that the vetting before one acquires a license is very, very extreme, and they got to jump through hundreds of different hoops. I can't imagine a store opening up with a municipality not knowing about it. We all the municipalities voted on this when cannabis became legal, whether or not we would be okay with an establishment opening in our township or not. And our township voted for that we were okay with that. And especially in this area, it makes very little sense because customers can just drive 30 or 40 minutes down the road and buy it at any one of a half a dozen or 8 or 9 unlicensed establishments that don't go through any government vetting at all. So I just don't understand the need for this.
Thank you for that. Any other discussion?
Can I add a little to that? I believe that this is not so much the selling establishment, but this is the growing establishment. And I know for a fact that where people are growing a lot of this, there is an odor around the area that is very, very strong because of the venting and the fans, etc. I don't believe it's for the retail, but I believe it's for the growing. And I do, that's why I asked for this to be discussed, because we have lots of open land, and the thoughts of having cannabis being grown without any check on this, the smells and odor that it actually causes the area to have is quite strong. That was what I understand Enniskillen was trying to get checked, not the actual retail property.
Thank you for that. Just a comment from myself. I have noticed that neighboring municipalities to South Algonquin have actually passed bylaws putting a moratorium on approving grow ops in their municipalities. So that's something that council may want to consider as well, because of the problems that have arisen, I believe, in some areas in regards to the large grow operations. So just my comment on that. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, then I would call the vote on this resolution. Councillor Collins?
For.
Councillor Florent? Have we lost Councillor Florent?
I think so.
His connectivity was breaking up, so.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your vote then, Councillor Florent?
I vote against.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Harper?
For.
Councillor Bongo?
I'll vote against.
And Councillor Rodnick?
For.
So it's carried. Thank you. Let me see, the next resolution. I have this resolution moved by Councillor Collins and seconded by Councillor Rodnick. Be it resolved that the Council for the Township of South Algonquin supports the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe resolution passed on October 4th, 2021, which is in support of the resolution received from the town of Scugog that encourages the province and the Government of Canada to provide more funding to rural municipalities to support infrastructure projects related to major bridge and culvert replacements. Any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, I would call the vote. Councillor Collins?
For.
Councillor Florent?
For.
Councillor Harper?
For.
Councillor Bongo?
For.
Councillor Shala? Oh, sorry, Councillor Rodnick?
For.
That's carried. just let me catch up with the resolutions here. Okay. Sorry, I have this resolution moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Florent. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin Council approve the 2021 Emergency Contacts / Municipal Control Group / Emergency Program Committee. And that was provided to Council in a separate attachment because of confidential phone numbers, etc. So calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. Okay. All right. So I have this resolution moved by Councillor Rodnick and seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports Resolution C-279-21 received from the municipality of Leamington, which endorses AMO's recommendations contained in its submission to the Long-Term Care COVID-19 Commission, and strongly urges the provincial government to move forward with the implementation of these recommendations and advocate to the federal government to enhance federal health care funding to the provinces and territories, and request the FCM to develop a policy and advocacy position to enhance federal support for long-term care. A discussion? Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. Okay. I have this resolution moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Collins. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts the application received from Vicky Forward to become a member of the Library Board. Any discussion? Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
That's carried. Okay. I have this resolution moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Rodnick. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin approves Whitney Recreations Committee's request to hold the annual Santa Claus Parade at 2:00 on December 19th, 2021. And that and will donate $300 for prizes, and the fire chief will be made aware and will contribute equipment and drivers, and a truck and driver for Santa will be provided. Any discussion? I would call the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. This resolution moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Collins. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin approves donating the Madawaska Complex free of charge to the Secret Sisters for their South Algonquin group get-together on December 4th, 2021. Any discussion?
I
Nice to hear.
I have concern. A lot of the Secret Sisters, me included there, are of an older population, and I really believe that we should be practicing absolute safe distancing because they're not insisting on people being vaccinated. So although people are eating and obviously will be removing masks, etc., I just think we should be very, very careful with this group of people in an indoor setting because of their vulnerability, and I'm really worried about it.
Good point.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Those are good points, and it has been historically in the past a very large group of participants. Could we consider? Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
They're contacting each member individually, and there are some people that aren't coming for some of the same reasons that Councillor Collins put forth. It's just that the majority of them feel that there is some business that has to be carried on. They're reducing it in function. They're not having some of the things that they had before to remove some of the contacts that would happen at a normal meeting. So they are taking some precautions.
And I think, and I would, the Deputy Clerk, Carla, has worked with other groups that perhaps an event, you know, we've had events there and there are criteria. So I think maybe there should be some dialogue between the Secret Sister group that's organizing this and township staff.
Yeah.
And Brian, I would ask that maybe you and Carla reach out, because we do have a documentation process that they have to adhere to as who will be attending, and contact information for those individuals that would be attending the event at the Madawaska Hall, so that if there were any problems or concerns later with any type of outbreak or whatever, that we would have the information to get in touch with those individuals. So Brian, any comments on this?
Yeah, Mayor Dumas, thank you. Yes, in fact, all COVID protocols are in place, provincially regulated in all of our municipal facilities. Therefore, any gatherings require that they meet the provincial requirements under COVID protocol, and I will ensure that Carla ensures the group is aware of their requirements under provincial law.
Okay.
I can speak to that, Brian. I actually have received the form coming from the Secret Sisters, signed, and all the criteria have been met. They clearly understand all the provincial mandates and
Carly, you're sort of fading in and out on us, but I'm going to paraphrase very briefly that you are working with this group and making them aware of the COVID requirements that they have to have in place for this event. Is that correct?
yes, and the form has been received, the signed
Okay.
form, that they are aware.
Okay, fair enough. Does that diminish concerns, or I mean, it's up to individual members of council to vote, of course, but it appears that all, you know, all requirements to meet the COVID requirements are in place for this event.
Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead, Councillor Bongo.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, I think that the COVID guidelines are pretty clear, and they seem to be working as well, and vaccination rates are quite up as well. However, my biggest question is, and perhaps maybe I'm just unaware of this. Why is it free of charge? I want to support all of the community organizations in the township, but let's say next month, a different organization approaches us and asks if they can use the facility free of charge. What is the justification for that?
I would say that this is not a group that is raising money for anything. This is a social activity that they put on. It's a historical activity in the township for the duration of the organization of the municipality, and this was a very respected look forward event in the community of Madawaska as well. So the decision to waive the fee for that is they don't have a budget. They don't have money coming in. Any money they come in, they donate to causes within the community and beyond. So Councillor Florent, you're quite familiar with this. Is that accurate, what I've said?
It's very accurate. Exactly that. We felt that it was providing a service to the community at large, and therefore that we would waive the fee. And you're absolutely right. They don't have any budget. They don't have a bank account. They don't have funds. Any funds that come in, they donate them elsewhere.
So does that answer your question then, Councillor Bongo?
A little bit. I have another follow-up. Historically, has this group been able to rent the facilities free of charge?
Yes, that's been the practice for this group for, as I said, since the incorporation of the township. And when they when the community of Madawaska had their own buildings, etc.
Okay.
And as I said, any draws that they have, etc., are then donated perhaps to the foundation in Barry's Bay for hospital. You know, the hospital foundation, they have made donations. They sell tickets maybe, and that's where the money goes. So they don't keep money in their pockets for anything really.
Okay. And just a quick question for staff. Is there any policy that guides this decision making of when it is most appropriate to allow a facility to be used free of charge?
Councillor Bongo, no, at this time, we do not have a formal grant policy, although it is on my list of to-dos to bring forward a formal guideline and policy for staff as it relates to how and when we will allow groups to utilize our facilities at no or reduced costs.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, like I said, I want to see all of our community organizations thrive, and I want exciting things to be happening here. But without some of these policies guiding us, making this decision of when it's most appropriate to waive a fee, and for whom and in what situation, I'm very concerned about how something like this might be perceived in the public. I don't want to make it seem like we're showing favoritism towards one organization and not another. I do ask that we have a recorded vote.
Fair enough. Carla, any other comments?
I just make one comment that the Secret Sisters organization, a little bit of history. It started as a church ladies group for the Anglican Church, probably 50 years ago. And ever since that time, they've been meeting. And of course, as Jane says, it's expanded first to the community of Madawaska and then to the community at large. And they've been getting free use of community halls long before the Township of South Algonquin existed. And Township of South Algonquin agreed to continue that relationship.
Great.
Okay, thank you. So Carla, would you call the recorded vote, please?
I hope you can hear me okay. Councillor
Yeah.
Bongo,
Against?
Councillor Rodnick,
For.
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
For.
Councillor Harper,
For.
Mayor Dumas,
4.
carried.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay, so we are at agenda item notice of motions, number 14. So agenda item number 15, bylaws. I have the first bylaw, the first and second reading of the bylaw moved by Councillor Rodnick, seconded by Councillor Bongo. First and second reading being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing for the purposes of a transfer payment from the Municipal Modernization Program Intake 2, and that it be read a first and second time and be referred to the Committee of the Whole Council. Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. Third reading moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Collins, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housings for the purposes of a transfer payment from the Municipal Modernization Program Intake 2. Any discussion? We had this report in our package. Any comments, Brian? No. Okay.
None.
Okay, thank you. And that it be read a third time and passed in number 21-673, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CAO clerk treasurer, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be entered into the bylaw book. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
And it's carried. sorry, I have this moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Florent, the first and second reading being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council and that it be read a first and second time and be referred to a committee of the whole council. Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
For.
Councillor Harper,
For.
Councillor Bongo,
For.
Councillor Shala. Oh, sorry, Councillor Rodnick.
For.
It's carried. Where's,
This one.
It appears I'm missing the third reading of this bylaw, Mayor Dumas.
so
Read it
I can read it out then. The third reading being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council. Any discussion? I had this moved by Councillor Rodnick and Councillor Collins, and that it be read a third time and passed and numbered 21-674, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CAO clerk treasurer, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be entered into the bylaw book. Calling the vote, Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent, okay, Councillor Harper,
For.
Councillor Bongo,
For.
and Councillor Rodnick.
For.
So it's carried. Agenda item 16, we do not have a resolution to move into closed session. All right. Okay, so these are the minutes.
I appear to have the last page of the agenda seems to be missing from my package.
Okay, fair enough. I missed agenda item, did I? I missed agenda item 11. Sorry. The correspondence that we received for information, I apologize. Was there anything I can just refresh your memory on what is in this package? Most of it pertained to the Castle Home situation. So the first item was correspondence from the municipality of Calvin in regards to an apology from Castle Home. Number 2 was the corporation of the city of North Bay, the mayor's meeting, and that was contained the information and the 2 resolutions that came forward from the mayors in regards to Castle Home. Number 3 was municipality of East Ferris, the long-term development agreement with Castle Home. Oh, we've got them there. Thank you. Number 4 was the Good Roads call for nominations for representatives, and from the area that we are in, they are looking for 2 representatives for the Good Roads. I believe it's their board. And then number 5 agenda item was the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines, Natural Resources and Forestry regarding proposed amendments to the Act. And it was a summary of changes that would be coming into the Forestry Sustainability Act, etc. And some of them are worth noting for sure. And the last item in number 6 was a letter of thank you from the Valley Manor Healthcare Foundation to the Council of South Algonquin in regards to a donation commitment that we had made to the foundation in regards to the rebuilding of the Valley Manor at the new site. So I apologize for missing those items. Was there anything anyone wanted to discuss in any of those? Okay, thank you. So then I would proceed to the last resolution. As I said, agenda item 16, we do not need to go into closed session. And agenda item 17 is adjournment. And I had that resolution moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Bongo. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular meeting of November 3rd, 2021 at, I have 10:15. Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
And it's carried. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.